Hello and welcome to the Slingshot channel. Yes, this is a comeback to all the comments that my number 8 generation instant Legolas received. So many of you said all the same things basically, therefore I decided to come back. Okay, first a lot of people said this is now a crossbow, you turn the bow into a crossbow. It's not true, because see, if I draw this out, I still have to keep it drawn. Of course there's a let-off, so it's not very hard now to hold it like that. But still, if I release it, it automatically goes back to the front. Whereas a crossbow you can put down in cocked position and take it, pick it up again and shoot. So this originally you can't do. Some people also said, well then simply add something that makes the whole thing locking in open condition. Which is exactly what I've done. Like so. See, now I can put it down in locked position, take it up at any time and fire. And then of course I can just press this lever very easily, pick up the next shot and repeat. And of course I could either, let me switch on the red outside, I could either do this like that, or I could keep this pressed and then go the old operation, which I think is better because it means that you don't really have to coordinate both hands. But as I said, you can do both. You could just keep it cocked like this. Yeah, there's one more shot in the magazine. So let's go crossbow mode one more time, like so. And again, if I would press this, I could go like so. Very simple. And the best thing is that I have not changed the entire bow for this. The bow remains the same. I simply removed the paracord and then made a new handle from plywood that contains this little hook here. And yeah, that's it. So the bow remains completely unchanged. Then a lot of people were concerned that there is chafing and that destroys the string, which is not the case, because as you see here, I applied a little bit of a Teflon like grease. Let me see if this focuses. Yeah, it's like a German Teflon gun grease that's actually working, and therefore, as you see, very smooth operation. But you could also see how nicely the string is centered in this. See, it almost is there's almost no friction, therefore the string isn't really affected at all. And when you draw, then there's even less friction because the half moon of the arrow actually keeps the string away from the rims of the wood. So it's really no problem. So why did I do it? Why did I convert this into a crossbow, which it is now legally? Well, I'm not sure. I don't really think it's a great benefit, except maybe for hunters. Because for hunters, noise could be an issue, and therefore what you can do as a hunter is you can just keep this, cocked until the game appears, and then you can very, very silently shoot. And then of course for a follow-up, it's usually not that important if it's making a sound or not. But also what I've done is I've added a little bit of rubber padding to this here to reduce the noise. All in all, I think it can be made more silent, but of course since there's moving parts, there's always a limit to how silent it can be. But the fact that you can now have one completely silent shot and then quick follow-ups that do make some noise, I think is already cool. Other than that, I made this little conversion simply because I can. Okay, next thing is a lot of people said, why don't you make it so that you can use your index finger as a trigger? Well, first of all, a lot of archery releases are done with the thumb anyway, because you want all your fingers right here. You don't really want to stretch out a finger and taking away the strength of one of your strongest fingers. So usually this actually makes a lot of sense to shoot it like this. Like so. But I've already made a change, and actually I haven't presented it, but it was in there all the time, because I can also use this. So I can use this to shoot with my index finger, like so. But as I said, the thumb method is better than the index finger method, I think, because I want all my fingers here. Okay, next big issue people had is make it out of carbon fiber, make it out of aluminum, and so on. Well, first of all, let me tell you that wood is actually lighter than aluminum, a lot lighter than aluminum actually. It's about half of the density of aluminum, and it's also lighter than carbon fiber. Yeah, that's right. The only thing is that, of course, you could probably go a little thinner with carbon fiber, but not by much, because you still need to fit the dimension of the arrow. So you can skeletonize, of course, but you can skeletonize wood as well. The main reason why this would not be made in wood if it ever goes into production is because it's too expensive. You normally do injection molding. Since stability on this thing is not an issue, no part is under tension. You know, the entire tension is really in the bow itself. So therefore you don't need a huge amount of stability. So even in fully cocked condition, because of the let off, there's only a few pounds on the trigger. And therefore, you know, I think it probably would be made in like nylon or some other plastic material to keep the cost down. What you need to make in high end is the bow limbs and the cams. This gotta be high end, not the little magazine. Then a lot of people said, you need to bring the red dot sight over to the frame because there's some wobbling in here, which is true because it's made from wood and by hand. You need to put it on here because then it is much more accurate, which isn't true because, you know, this here is actually the barrel. You know, the arrow is guided all the way to the front. So the arrow will fly into the direction where this points at, not this. So this means the moving part, where you're not supposed to put your sighting system on, from the perspective of the arrow, is the bow frame. So it would be absolutely wrong to put it on here. You gotta put it on here, which is exactly what I've done. Do I have the plans? Well, again, I have no plans. Here is a picture of the plans that I've actually published on my Facebook page. This is where I'm usually starting from, yeah. And then I'm sketching the outline directly to the wood and saw it out. So you're looking at the plans. Those are the plans. And I'm not sure if this is something for home production, because the saw work that goes into the slot mostly has to be absolutely immaculate. And a lot of people are simply not able to do cuts like this. Actually, it took me years of practice to get to that point. So I really think this needs to go into production, but that means that it would have to be made by a major manufacturer together with a bow. Then the super old discussion about exchangeable magazines and stripper clips. Well, folks, remember that I said this is the pump gun of the archery world? I said pump gun, not AR-15 of the archery world. So like a pump gun, you are supposed to load in the arrows one by one, which really isn't a big deal. But this is not really suitable for exchangeable arrows. See how long the arrows are, what kind of bulky magazine or stripper clip that would be. It would be absolutely not viable to make anything exchangeable for it. For the very short bolts, I've done this already, so technically it's possible, but it's just not feasible to do it. Therefore, there won't be a stripper clip or anything for this. Alright, about accuracy. There's a lot of people that say this thing is actually a disadvantage. You know, in archery, you don't hold on to this, you simply let it drop when you shoot, and manual release is more precise than a mechanical release. Well, don't forget that this changes everything. Why do archers behave like that? Why do they let go of the bow? Why do they really have a lot of practice behind them in order to release always the same way? Well, because on a normal bow it isn't possible to keep it drawn out and under control during the shot. You can't hold it steady. Therefore, you try to always let it go as reproducible as possible for best accuracy. For this here, this isn't required. See, if I draw this out, even if I do not lock it, I can completely hold it still. It doesn't shake, and I can release the shot without shaking at all. This is something that with a normal bow and arrow you simply cannot do, because this hand is not touching the bow anymore after the arrow is on its way. Therefore you can only hold it with the front hand, and there you have a lot of opportunities to shake. Therefore, archers try to not interfere at all with the behavior of the bow. But here, that is not necessary. Everybody, a total beginner, a child, can hit with a bow like this. Of course, this is just a red dot, and this is not like a telescopic sight or something. And this is actually a small bow, and I'm not a professional archer, but this is a 30-meter distance. And I will try to see if all my 6 bolts can actually hit my target, which isn't all that big. Okay, from 30 meters. Okay, see, it catches the string, so therefore you have to get the hook out of the way if you want to reset it. Now on to the last thing that people keep saying over and over. Patent it, please patent it. Well, that's a complicated issue, and I have reason for not doing that. Actually, I've just made a whole new video explaining why I believe patents are idiotic for the small inventor. And you could see the link there. If you want to watch it. It is written and filmed from more than 30 years of experience with such matters. Anyway, I hope you like this, because that's it for today. Thanks and bye. Bye.